Hey, what's up? Back at you with another video. In light of the CweCwe situation, the protests, the grifting, the fundraising, the suspicious pointing of fingers towards a white man, now being recently also joined by Owami, as she was attacking Penwell for comments that he made regarding this case, we have somewhat of an update, and this one comes courtesy of 702 Clement Manyathela, and we're going to be listening to him talking to Brigadier Mathe. So now we've got more word from the South African Police Service regarding this, and I'm telling you, those who are busy currently trying their best to point fingers towards that white man are in serious error. You are proving yourself to be hot currently, fueled by racism disguised as outrage, righteous anger for the pain suffered by a child at the hands of a disgusting abuse perpetrated by somebody that at this point we don't know and we are eager to catch. So let's listen. But first, cue here to Owami, who seemed quite angry and adamant for the white man to be the one.
And the principal, who... Guys, even if CweCwe's father, cousin, whoever submitted, those were not the three that Runa we were actually still wanting. And the two had submitted. The only one that had not submitted was the principal. And that's why people were striking, and that's why we're fighting.
All right. So now let's jump into Clement Manyathela and Brigadier Mathe as we find out what is actually going on here.
Like with Bushiri, where years later we still don't know how someone escaped, especially because in this case, this person was assisted clearly by the police officers. Let's move over to the CweCwe case now, Brigadier Mathe. How far are your investigation? I saw that I think you were there on the ground, if I'm not mistaken, but you did speak to the media on Friday about where the case is. Have you met with the mom? What can you share with us?
The CweCwe case, or let me rather not identify her, the 7-year-old girl's case, it's very complex, it's very sensitive because of certain aspects on the particular case, and one of them being that she was alleged to be raped, but no semen, no DNA, foreign DNA, or another person's DNA was found on her or any of the items that were sent to our lab. So it makes it very complex because usually cases where DNA is found, they're easier to solve because then you compare. There's something to compare with. So in this particular case, there was nothing to compare because there was no semen or any DNA that was found on the child. And I think that from a point of departure made it very difficult and challenging for the investigating officers to make headway in this case, but we do concede that better efforts from our officers in Matatiele should have been put into this case, better resources, better capacity. It could have been escalated earlier and not now, where we had to send the head of the family violence, child protection and sexual offences investigations unit head on the instruction of the National Commissioner to say, go and intervene, go and retrace the steps of the investigating officer. Perhaps you can identify some gaps, some loopholes where we may have missed a step. And that is exactly why we were in Matatiele last week. To retrace those steps. So last week, what essentially happened, we arrived, General Lekgele met with the investigating team and started analyzing the docket. Already before she had left Pretoria, she started analyzing the docket and already picked up some of the things she thought needed, further clarity or more information, more statements to be taken. So when we got there, indeed, she met with the complainant, the mother, and so on, and she got to understand why the mother went to social media to complain and for the nation to hear her plight. She met also with the first doctor that rather examined the child. we got the NPA to give us authorization to get her, those doctors, the treating doctors, statements and J88. But already we did have the J88 in the initial investigation and so on.
So that's a report. That's a report from the doctor who said this child has been raped from her examination.
That's the medical report, yes, indeed. So we needed to conduct further investigation with the doctor, their report, not just the J88. We need the report where they examine the child and so on. So also with other doctors as well, because the child was examined by various other doctors and so on.
Do they come to the same conclusion, though, the other doctors who examined her?
Absolutely. The two doctors' reports were corroborating. So,
okay.
So that's where we are. But, due to the sensitivity of the matter, I can't go into detail. But
So, doctors confirm that there's been violation on the child. The question now that the initial suspect is not looking so suspicious anymore means that as heinous, as ugly, as painful as the descriptions have been of what this child's condition was recorded to be, however sad and enraging that was, that rage needs to now continue as we seek to find out if such horror could be done by somebody very close, trusted by the mother, somebody in the family, somebody who is a friend. It is much more enraging than the principal, actually. And if there isn't as much rage for a black man who is a family member or a friend doing this, then we really know that this anger is manufactured, it's funded, it's paid for, it's selective, it's not true. It's not right.
Those, statements that were taken. We went back to the school, spoke to assistant teachers. We went back to the parents of those children that travel with the child on transport. We went back. So we are busy with a very thorough investigation to ensure that we close all the loopholes and stuff. But what is more complex, Clement, is that it is a single witness case. So a single witness case means the child is the only victim and the witness in the case because no one else saw anything. So we have to rely on really intense and extensive investigative techniques because no DNA was found. So we rule that out. So we need to then interrogate other avenues to put the perpetrator on the crime scene. And so on. And I know there were a lot of questions as to then why take the buccal samples and DNA of persons of interest. We do so.
So we're here at this question. The Owamis are calling for the sample of the teacher's DNA. And we are about to listen to why this is not actually helpful or necessary at this point.
In investigation, especially with the Schedule 8 offenses, where there's murder, there's rape, other serious and violent crime. The purpose of this is that, yes, no DNA found on any of the items of the child or on the child herself, but DNA can assist us because you might find that you take a buccal sample of a person of interest. We then compare that with our database. It can lead us to a possible serial rapist, a murder suspect who committed murder elsewhere and was on the run and is now hiding in Matatiele and so on. So that type of investigation can also assist us to solve this case because even though DNA was not found, but we can see the pattern and the history of a suspect and a person of interest. So that is why, because a lot of questions was like, okay, if DNA and semen was not found on the child, then why are you then taking buccal samples of your persons of interest? So DNA evidence exonerates a person from a crime scene or removes a person from a crime scene or places them, but also gives us the history when we then compare it to our database. If there's a positive link, then we follow that particular lead investigation, and it can assist us to unravel and solve a lot of other things.
Do you still need the DNA samples of the principal of the school?
Look, Clement, I don't know whether story of the principal comes from. The principal was never identified as a person of interest in this particular case. From the statements that were taken, the principal is nowhere near that school in the 3 or 4 days that we are concentrating on.
Guysini, who initially pointed at the principal? The mother is not recorded anywhere saying, "I suspect the principal." She never said that to the police. Who was it? Who started this whole finger-pointing revolution? Where did it start? Hey, some quick shameless self-promotion over here. If you love and enjoy this channel and you also happen to love dope gadgets, you can support my new baby, my new startup, my new retail venture, Gadget Plug. In case you've only ever known me as a YouTuber, you'll be glad to know that I'm also a wedding and documentary film producer, pro video editor, and all-round entrepreneur with a love for high-end gadgets like cinema cameras, gaming consoles, powerful GPUs, computers, and mobile phones. And my electronic store Gadget Plug is your new go-to place for the latest and greatest in tech. We're talking real gadgets, real quality, real quick, at the best prices in all of South Africa. To know more about this, head on over to my website imneo.co.za and check out my e-commerce store today. As we officially kick off business, Gadget Plug has stock right now of iPhone 16 Pro Max in 256 and 512 gig at 25,000 and 28,000 respectively. Simply press the green button at the bottom of my website if you want to inquire, and one of my friendly customer service agents will attend to you. Thank you very much for your support. And now back to the video.
So it's really, I think the social media investigators are really giving us a tough time in this particular case. And that's why we are calling for responsible social media reporting, but also that stop pointing fingers at people before they are arrested and appear in court. It's a very sensitive case. We are a nation that is torn by this particular case. We are outraged. Everyone is outraged, and you're putting people's lives at risk. You're really putting people's lives at risk by identifying them, saying the caretaker is a suspect, saying the driver of the transport, they are suspects. Please refrain, South Africa, from doing this. You're really putting people's lives at risk.
Okay, just to be clear then, Brigadier Mati, your SAPS officials have never asked this principal for his DNA.
We, at this stage, well, I'll have to verify that, but even if they were to ask, they are asking on what basis, because he has never been identified as a suspect. The prima facie evidence is that he was nowhere near the school, so they would be asking on what basis.
Well, that's the question that I would ask, that if you've got officials who's asked him for DNA, on what basis do they do that? Because it's easy to want to blame social media, but I don't think that's enough. In fact, just hold on there. Let me bring in Barry Bateman, because maybe he can assist us. He's the spokesperson for AfriForum's Public Prosecution Unit. Barry, thank you so much.
You all remember Barry Bateman, right? The spokesperson for AfriForum, and he's been giving us updates and information regarding this on behalf of the man who is being accused. He said that it's the mother who started pushing for the principal's DNA to be demanded and for stories to be made that say he is refusing it, though being a suspect. So Barry Bateman says he's not a suspect, he has no reason to be asked for DNA, and there's no official recognition of him as a suspect. He's not been told that he's being suspected of anything. So what's going on?
For making time for us. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Clement, and thanks for having me.
The principal of the school, was he or was he not asked for his DNA sample? And if he was asked, by whom? Because the police say, on what basis?
He was asked by the investigating officer to provide a sample. When he questioned why he was being asked, because I must point out that he facilitated the investigating officer to take samples from those persons of interest that Akenda just referred to. So he had assisted the police in taking those samples. 2 or 3 days later, the investigating officer says, "Mr. Peterson, can I see you again, please?" He comes to the school, and it was in that conversation he says, "Please, I'd like to take your sample as well." He says, "Well, am I a suspect now?" The investigating officer said to him, "No, you are not a suspect, but the mother insists that I take it from you." And that is when he came to us and got the advice, and we sent the correspondence to the SAPS, raising this concern related to an abusive process.
And since then, have they taken a few steps back, or are they still insisting on that DNA sample?
That was the last we heard from as Aklenda pointed out. Mr. Peterson was never a suspect. Let's say, if you're going to go.
So they've disappeared. They've stopped pursuing him. Why is Owami pursuing the man then?
In degrees. You don't even meet in this current state, the police haven't even met the bar for a suspect. We're still dealing with persons of interest. He was nowhere there. The police, having seen our correspondence, simply ignored us. If they were to persist with it, there would have been correspondence, and Mr. Peterson, as he indicated through the correspondence, he's more than willing to cooperate. He's been cooperating with the police since October last year, and this is borne out with the meetings that he's had with the police and all the engagement up to that meeting or when he was asked for the DNA. That's the last we heard from the police.
And if the police said to him, you are a person of interest, would he comply and provide
But
his
that's what
DNA?
he's indicated all along. The correspondence on the 17th of February makes that clear. In terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, there's certain where you're not arresting somebody, but you require consent from somebody to get their DNA. You've got to have reasonable grounds. You can't just go around asking people for it. You must provide that. And that is what we asked for. There was never a suggestion that we won't comply, or Mr. Peterson won't, but just follow due process. And there was no follow-up from that.
Yeah. Barry Bateman, spokesperson for AfriForum's Public Prosecution Unit. Thank you. Brigadier Mati, you had it yourself. It was your own investigating officer who asked for DNA samples from someone who's not even a suspect. So
Because the mother wanted it to be so.
this is not social media that started this.
Absolutely. This is exactly why the National Commissioner sent the head of the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Investigations Unit to go and intervene, because he had, where he was sitting, he did not have a comprehensive report. He needed to ensure due diligence in this particular case. And that's why he sent the general to go back to the Eastern Cape, be on the ground, meet with the investigating team. They must explain the decisions and the processes that were followed to try and get to the perpetrator. So I don't want to get too much into that, but I am on record saying that on what basis, and those are some of the questions that were asked, to say, on what basis are you requesting a particular person to take a buccal sample? Because in none of the statements that were taken is this person near the school, is this person of a person of interest.
So, Owami, why are you fighting? Who are you representing? Are you the face of women standing together, 10 toes in the ground, standing against Penwell, standing against men, standing against the white man? Come back. Where's the sense? Listen to another lady there. Brigadier Mati is a woman. She's speaking sensibly. Could you please join her?
If indeed our own did request based on hearsay and based on social media, we don't work on hearsay in the police. We work with the chain of evidence. So those are some of the things that we are handling in-house and we are addressing.
Brigadier Atlenda Mati, National Police spokesperson, thank you for making time for us. It's so tough, So tough. Because often these people make claims about, these are, like now, social media is the one suddenly that's pointed at this principal. And we're speaking about the need for him to provide his DNA samples. It wasn't social media, it was the police's very own investigating officer who wanted that, even when the principal himself was nowhere near the scene and the principal himself was not a suspect. But now the police are always going to try and justify their ways here of, this is how we're carrying out the investigation. Take accountability.
Yo, stick around. After this, we are watching a small video where CweCwe's mother was put into a group chat, a voice group chat, and in there, she got accused by people of lying. Her statements, how she has said them, and how she has flipped and said other things was rigorously being questioned. This thing is hot on the streets. Let's let Clement finish. Don't go away.
For where you're also messing it up. First of all, this is something that happened last year. It's only being escalated now, and it's not even being escalated by your own officers because they truly want to see justice. It's escalated because a woman has gone to social media, and South Africans have responded in their numbers because they are devastated by a medical report, 2 medical reports that are saying a 7-year-old child was penetrated. That's not normal. And the fact that the medical reports have said that, and we are sitting months later with no possible leads, and we're talking about the complexity of the case because, no foreign DNA found, and now it's going to be difficult because you're dealing now with a single witness case. We need to also talk about the accountability on the part of the SAPS, and I think often they also fail the victims here. It's 10:32.
And the accountability on the part of the parents. We shall hear more of that. This video comes courtesy of a channel called Daily Mkosi. They've got a part 1 and a part 2 video where, we're gonna be getting this one from E-News Mzansi, and the video straight up is titled CweCwe's mom accused of lying. Let's listen.
Andiyozobizwa, like I wasn't even on socials, but kuthiwa leqa ku-live kabongani D ziyakhala. Okokuqala bethuna lo mntana endithetha ngaye, she's not in a right space as much as thina nathi singekho kuyo. Iyanibhida because inamba yami it's all over ka-WhatsApp calls, but kunabantu abane-assumptions ezihlaba enhliziyweni kwalapha kuthi, because kaloku if bekhona into ongayi-understand you should have called.
Can you please use English for all of us to understand?
I'll try my best, but
please.
I'm not in a right space.
That's CweCwe's mother.
But I feel like
You're not in the right space.
But, can you allow me
of mind?
Then are you going to speak with? Are you going to speak without being in the right state of mind?
I'm speaking English, Mas.
Okay, continue.
It makes me some kind of worried if you guys are also parents, but you come here and you don't consult with me as to what happened to your child. Firstly, I took the child to a GP. She consulted with the GP. That's the one that said the child should lie with a side. And then from there, because I can hear you, Coco, saying that the doctor was supposed to bring on maybe the rape kit and whatsoever. But she was not in a state of doing that because she's a GP. That is why she ended up referring us to a psychologist. Then from there, we went to police station, went via the school, then police station. From police station, we went to Zela. That's where the rape kit was used. I think your question have been asked, you like there's clarity now on your side. And
Can
also,
I just...
TAPS, no, I'm still speaking. No. And then with TAPS now, when he said I was wrong, like no one is going to teach me how to be a parent to my kids, or maybe I should copy his parenting skills, because as I mentioned on the that thing, what do you call podcast, you should go back and reference on what I said, because I said the child said there was a smell of a burning tire at school. So at the time the child was numb, so you expected the child to be in a right state and also to be maybe not to be numb. I'm just asking. You guys are just talking. You're just talking. You speak.
Numb. This description of the child being numb is similar to the description of her being either either passed out, drugged, fainted while the violation happened, because the child also didn't see herself getting violated. She doesn't remember that. So the child was sleeping, numb, passed out, fainted, drugged. There's a moment, a period where nobody can see anything, neither the child, only God and the perpetrator of the crime.
In your mind, I'll put it that way, because now you're being so insensitive with the matter, not being so insensitive with it only, but you don't like with us, because this thing, it's ours, ne? It's also yours because it touched the entire country. But now when it comes to us, it's something else, because you keep on pointing fingers to us. If I was wrong as the mother, but no one is going to teach me how to be a good parent to my kids. If I was wrong, then go to the police station and open a case. That's all. Yes, I'm working for the police. Yeah, I'm working for the police, and also even if I'm working for the police, but I'm seated at the office. I'm not operational. I can tell you that we start from here to there, but with arresting and whatsoever, I don't do that. Yes, I'm working for the police. Do you understand? So guys, can you please, I can't be receiving calls and people will be like, no, go to Bongani D's live because people are talking nonsense. No. This is my child we are talking about here. With your opinions, keep them. If you've got a question, text me, you call me, and you say whatever you want to say. Because it's not me who said the child was raped. I went to the doctor myself because the child said, Mama, I've got a stomach, I'm experiencing a running stomach. What I did as a parent, as a concerned parent, I gave my child Panado and also anti-diarrhea. That is why the child ended.
So she went to the doctor initially because the child said she's got diarrhea or a sore tummy. Was it runny already or was it painful? Because she's going to speak about giving the child anti-diarrhea. Or is it a laxative? One stops it, one makes it just run its course. And so she took the child to the doctor for that reason. And then she says that's when she discovered that no, it's not just the runny tummy. There's been a rape here. So she's never accused anyone. She's never pointed fingers at the principal. She's never suspected a rape. She discovered a rape. And so now she wants justice for that rape, which she never suspected initially, but discovered had taken place.
Being constipated. You should have asked me that. Do you understand? Guys, don't be disrespectful.
Wait. Can we give it to Coco? Wait, don't go because we're gonna need you to answer questions. Coco, do you want something? Do you want to say something to her, please?
She's gonna go. I wanted to say something. Now she's gone.
She left. But say something. I think she's listening.
You know what? Did you just hear? Yes. Now she's saying child came to her saying that she's got a running stomach. We can literally go to the clip where she herself said that she is suspecting that her child is constipated because the child said, I have a tummy ache. And then the child then went to the loo for the first time, went to the loo for the second time. And then she said, I suspected that maybe this child is constipated. And then I gave her pain pills, and then I gave her a anti-diarrheal. We have the clips. But now she's saying the stomach that the child
is the mother's words evident enough to prove a case?
The mother's words alone would not be evident enough without the child and without the supporting evidence.
Then why are you believing her words then?
Because I believe children.
Their mother. Man, come on. You said listen to the question before you respond. I am asking you, why are you believing the mother?
No, the problem is you can't ask a question with expecting the answer that you have in your head. You want me to answer the way you want, in my view. There is evidence because...
amazing. We give you a chance. Let's give... you just failed. You failed yourself. You even failed to prove a case even here. You are failing.
No, thank you. Maybe we ended at that.
Went through now is what the investigators went through when they had to present this case to the NPA. This is exactly what they experienced.
Yeah.
Is the child saying that she's raped? No. Is there independent evidence pointing to a rape? No.
No.
Take this back.
Then I will. If I'm the magistrate, I'm gonna say, please. I'm gonna throw the papers around and say, you are playing with me. You're wasting my time. Because indeed you will be wasting my time.
Let's move on. Kifilo and Baby N. Who came first, guys, if you remember? I think it's Baby N.
Is Baby N.
For justice, ne?
Yes, she's looking for justice.
For a daughter. Against what?
Against rape.
Then you said she never said the child was raped.
I'm saying on that postcard, she said she didn't know what was happening with her child.
I don't think
you guys must learn to listen. She didn't know what was happening with her child.
Amazing. Amazing.
When she got to the doctor, she even left the room when the doctor told her that the child was raped.
So this is the doctor. It's the doctor who said it. So should this be what? What is this? So the child has no memory of being violated. The mother didn't see it on herself. The doctor said that it happened. I mean, this is just so mysterious and so difficult to talk about. It's like there's a U-turn that is possible here. The mother's full commitment to going on a podcast and seeking justice. It's got a U-turn that is performable. There's a possibility here of us being brought all into this and her leaving and saying, no, I mean, thank you for all of the outrage. Thank you for all of the support. Thank you for all of the people that put money into my Capitec account and those who deposited money via the petition. But I never said there was a grape. It is the doctor who said it, and I never accused the teacher, so you can't sue me either. You can't say that I'm being manipulative over here. I'm just a mother in a hot state, frustrated. I went on podcasts, spoke for over 2 hours with my full mind, with my full capacity. I spoke. Then I did selfies. I spoke. But now I would like to walk back some statements that I made because I am not in a clear state of mind. Oh no. Hey, something does not smell right about this. But like, share, comment, and subscribe. I will be seeing you next time. Stay with me.